Alright, so we're going to talk about Silence Suzuka in the Champion Meeting 7, the Scorpio Cup. So Silence Suzuka is going to be an extremely popular pick, and you'll probably be seeing her a lot in CM7 because she's going to be very strong. Why is she going to be strong? So the first reason is Unrestrained on CM7 track procs at a very good time, and so she will usually get a very good speed out of, a lot of acceleration out of this skill. So she gets very high value from this skill. Unrestrained is available on the Silence Suzuka Speed SSR. However, it only works if you are in front. It's kind of like angling and scheming. So Silence Suzuka is the only Uma who is going to be in front in a lobby that has a Silence Suzuka. So even if you take the skill from the Silence Suzuka SSR and put it onto, for example, Summon Maruzensky, if you're in a lobby with a Silence Suzuka, your Summon Maruzensky is never going to proc this skill. So that is one of the reasons why Silence Suzuka is going to be so dominant on this track, is because she gets the 0.4 acceleration on that final corner when she's going into the final spurt. Another reason she's really good is that she basically gets free groundwork. So as long as she can get groundwork into her kit somehow, she will proc it. She has all of the 3 conditions to proc it in her base kit. So she has left-handed, it's a left-handed track. She has concentration, and she gets Runaway during her secret event, which you have to take if you're going to run her as a Runaway. All 3 of those skills will work together to be your groundwork triggers. Additionally, the free Mihono Bourbon Wit card is going to be huge because that gold skill is a 0.4 acceleration right out of the gate. So that taking the lead skill, which I'll show in a minute, will also be a groundwork proc, and it works with groundwork to give you a lot of acceleration coming out of the gate. So one of the reasons that Suzuka is going to be so dominant here that maybe she wasn't dominant before is because, one, we didn't have access to taking the lead in a very easy way. Previously it was on the Twin Turbo Speed SSR, and it's very difficult to get because all of her events are very RNG. So we have that skill for free. Unrestrained hits at a really good time. All of her base kit will help her to proc groundwork, and the stamina requirements are not that high. So everybody's going to be running Suzuka because she is very strong on this track, and she alone is very, very strong on this track. So if you see a solo Suzuka in the lobby, if you're running a solo Suzuka in the lobby, there are really good chances that you will just win. As long as you don't whiff half of your skills, you're going to win the lobby if you are the only Suzuka. Now, the way to combat this is to run a Suzuka of your own, because Suzuka is the only real counter against another Suzuka. Now, a lot of people will think that, oh, well, you can just kill her via debuffing stamina, and the stamina requirements are not that difficult on this track, and it's very easy for a Suzuka to overstam. I'll show you guys in a little bit some of the scrims that I ran, even against double Nice Nature with double gold debuff skills, how easy it was for my Suzuka with 1 white skill to still win. So the best way to kill a Suzuka is to run a Suzuka of your own and have them outstam each other, because when there are 2 Suzukas running together, they will consume stamina at a much faster rate, and that is the only way to kill them. I'll show some scrims of this exact thing happening later on in the video. So when you're thinking about running a Suzuka to prevent other Suzukas from winning, I know a lot of other content creators have recommended making a blocker Suzuka. I don't think that this is actually a very good idea. Firstly, because Suzuka herself is really easy to build, and I'll show you what her build requirements in a little bit, but she's not hard to build. Building a front right now is literally the easiest it has ever been in Global, and Suzuka herself is also pretty easy to build because she has a 20% speed growth. She has all of these skills in her kit. You don't have to inherit anything. You don't have to, pray for your inspirations to hit, 3 separate skills. All you have to do is get groundwork on her, hopefully get medium S, and use a Saiyan Sky as a parent, and you're pretty much off to a great start. So people tend to shy away from Runaway because of the stat thresholds, but I can say with confidence, and I will show that 800 to 850 with a white will survive the track. This Suzuka with 1 white, 843, 392 guts survives the track. This Suzuka, 848, 1 white, 438, survives the track. So, like, it's not... People are really, really overhyping the stamina requirements, and I will literally show you videos of these Suzukas surviving the track, surviving nice natures on the track, surviving dominators on the track, and still winning when they are solo. So for that reason, I think that building an ace Suzuka is so much better than building a block Suzuka, because if you're building a block Suzuka, you still need to get Runaway, right? You still need to get concentration. You still need to get taking the lead. You still need to get groundwork, because these are all skills that will actually help you to contest the other Suzuka. If you don't have these skills and you don't contest the other Suzuka, she's not ever going to lose stamina and she's just going to win. As far as stat requirements go, people are saying, you know, for block Suzuka, you get like 600 speed, 1200 power, 1200 wit. Like, what's the difference between getting those stat requirements and actually maxing out speed and getting a little bit less power and wit so that your Suzuka can actually win the game if she's a solo Suzuka? She has a 20% speed growth. She needs to win races in her career in order to get Runaway in the first place, and if you're killing her speed to build her power and wit, she's not even going to win those races. So there's really no point to making a block Suzuka. It's just as hard, if not even harder, than making a Suzuka that can actually win. And if you make a Suzuka that can win, when you're in lobbies as the solo Suzuka, you're going to win. That's pretty much as simple as that. So in terms of stat thresholds, like I mentioned, 843, you know, I have another one down here that's 819, and I took a gold. I shouldn't have taken this gold. This Suzuka would actually probably be close to perfect if I had just gotten like corner recovery and then concentration. This is the first Suzuka that I built for the CM, and I wasn't quite sure where the stamina requirements are. But, you know, I've seen my friends Suzukas with 800 and 1 white, you know, still complete the track. I think they had pretty high guts, but, like, still complete the track. So, I don't think that you should be scared of building a Suzuka. And here, in a minute, I will talk about the crucial skills to grab. Okay, so this is the Silence Suzuka starter pack. This is basically all of the crucial skills that you'll want to get if you are running Silence Suzuka. I think that you will note that all of them are very easy to get. So firstly there's Groundwork, which is the bane of frontrunner mains since the beginning of Global. Since the patch, Groundwork is available for free when you're running Smart Falcon Power. So if you run Smart Falcon Power, it's her first event chain, you just pick the top option, you get a Groundwork hint. Now, is this the best way to get Groundwork? I don't think so. Smart Falcon Power is not the best card, and if you are a free-to-play player, if you're maybe a little bit more casual of a player, you're probably not going to have her at max limit break. So it still would be better if you have those Groundwork legacies and you want to do that gambling on inheritance to inherit Groundwork. However, this is an extremely easy way to get it. It's a very fast way to get it, and if you are, for let's say, on a high roll, the differences won't be that significant between running Smart Falcon Power or running another card. With Groundwork, you have to have Groundwork trigger skills. The best part about Groundwork trigger skills on Silent Suzuka is that they're already in her kit. She gets left-handed, she gets Runaway in her secret event, which you have to take anyway because you're running her as a Runaway, and she gets Concentration. You definitely want to pick up Concentration. It's really good on Suzuka. Because as a Runaway, she needs like every single second of acceleration and speed she can get in the early race, and Concentration gives her that. Additionally, Taking the Lead is also a Groundwork trigger. It is the final skill in that free Bourbon event card chain, and it's a 0.4 acceleration, so it's huge. Even whales will be running this Bourbon Wit card. It's such a good card, it's amazing for front runner mains, and it's part of the reason why Suzuka is so good right now. Do you need Taking the Lead and Groundwork at the same time? Yes, mostly because most people will probably also be running both of those, and if your Silent Suzuka falls behind another front, it's game over. She's not going to win. So she needs everything. She needs both of those for that 0.6 acceleration as soon as the gate opens. Unrestrained, also already in her kit, final corner acceleration. angling and scheming, use the Saiyan Sky parent, get that acceleration. So with this, with all the skills that are here, it's either already in her kit, on a free card, or available on a card. There's no gambling. Which makes Silence Suzuka, I think, actually very accessible to build. So don't be afraid of her. You can get skills like dodging danger and prudent positioning, but you probably want to make sure that you get them together, and it is more optional. Okay, so when you're looking at decks and inherits for Suzuka, the most important thing here is that you just try to get medium S, right? Especially if you can slot a Smart Falcon into your deck. You just need medium S to give her that extra little bit of speed in the final spurt. But otherwise, I like to use this parent. I like to use quite a few stamina sparks because I don't want to run a stamina card. I don't want to like dilute my deck with additional cards that don't match, speed, wit, so on and so forth. So I run this parent that I made. Unfortunately, it doesn't have groundwork on the main parent. It does on the upper parent or the grandparents. But I think it's still pretty good. It has some decent whites, and it has high affinity. So I usually run this one, and then for my borrow, I'm going to borrow a Saiyan Sky, and it's going to be a Saiyan Sky that has medium sparks. So probably this one. I thought I had a medium. Oh yeah, I have this one. So this one is usually the one that I like to borrow because it has a lot of stamina sparks, it has a lot of medium sparks, and it has groundwork. That's pretty much kind of all you need. I like running more stamina sparks because that way I don't have to worry quite as much about exploding on stamina with my Unity explosions. It also helps to alleviate some of the anxiety about hitting that like 800 to 850 stamina by the end of the game. And then, if you can fit a couple power sparks in there, it's pretty good. So I think that this is a pretty good spread. My word is not law, just do whatever feels best, whatever your decks can do. In terms of decks, so I am lucky enough to have a Kita-san, and I use her in every deck. If you don't have her, you don't have her max limit broken. Hopefully you can get her max limit broken in this upcoming banner. If you can't, you'll probably be stuck borrowing her. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just that if you're borrowing Kita-san, you're probably not able to use Smart Falcon in your deck. Which again, I don't think is optimal anyway, but it does make for a much easier runs with more consistency because you'll get groundwork in every single run. But if you have to borrow her, it's not a big deal. Because Suzuka has 20% speed, you only need to run 2 speed cards. This is because the decks that I run with her are usually 2 speed, 2 wit, and your 2 wit plus the 20% speed bonus kind of combines to make like a pseudo 3rd speed card, right? And then her speed is usually almost max in every single run that I do like this. For the 2nd speed card, if you obviously have a big carry speed card like a Biko at high limit breaks, then use her. Otherwise, I like to use Sweep. Sweep is an extremely good card, probably the best of the SRs because she has 10% training effectiveness with the 5% plus her unique perk. She has really high specialty priority. She has an existent race bonus, and she has a skill point bonus. And the skill point bonus is actually really helpful on Suzuka and frontrunners in general because they need to get so much SP for all of the gold skills they need to take. So I really like running Sweep. An alternative to Sweep is, of course, King Halo, who is generally a very good speed card. She has a power bonus, so your power is going to be a little bit higher with her. She has really high specialty priority, so she's going to be on that speed facility quite a lot. And all in all, she's a very strong card. The only thing is that she doesn't have any race bonus, so you're going to maybe run into some issues where you're only getting +3 and slightly fewer skill points at the end of every career race rather than +4. And that's it does hurt a little bit when you're using her. I like Windy a lot. Not a lot of people will probably have her max limit broken, but if you do have her, she's really, really useful because she has 10% race bonus, which means that you can run Windy and then a card with like 0 race bonus and still get that full +4 stats after every race that you run in her career. Wendy's fine. She has a little bit lower specialty priority than the other ones, but she also does get a speed bonus, so she's a little bit better at training your speed when she's actually on speed. But of all of them, I like Sweep. If you don't have any of those three, Sweep, Windy, or Halo, you know, Asian is fine. Taishin is also fine. You could even use this Narita Bryan, because she does give speed bonus. Her specialty priority is okay, and she does actually have medium straights and medium corners, so you can get some decent skills from her if you're lucky. So I think that any of these three are good. For like total free-to-play players, you don't have any LBs on any of your cards, I would definitely say to get this Narita Bryan card from the story. The main story, and then just max limit break her in the shop, or come as close as you can to max limit breaking and use her. For wit cards, Mihono Bourbon, 100%. This is a free-to-play wit card, but even whales will be running it in their decks. Why is that? Because she gives you taking the lead. This is a 0.4 acceleration skill right out of the gate. You want this skill. If you don't get this skill, you are pretty much bricked. So use Mihono Bourbon, get the skill. There's one other card that has this skill, and it is, I actually have it. It is Twin Turbo, but Twin Turbo needs you to get insane RNG just to get the skill. You have to like pass a check in the first event, you have to pass a check in the second event, you have to pass a check in the third event. So you're not gonna run her. Don't run her. Run Bourbon, the Bourbon wit card. So for your second wit card, you have a couple options. I used all of my selectors and my rainbow gem on my fine motion, so I obviously use her. But if you don't have fine motion or like a high limit broken, you know, SSR wit card, Tachyon is a very good card. She has great stats. She has high specialty priority, good race bonus, and she also gives medium quarters and medium straights, so she'll help you a little bit with your mid race. Very decent card. I would definitely recommend using her. Other alternatives are Marvelous Sunday. Her bonuses are really good, and she does give Tail Held High, which is nice. Suzuka might have some trouble activating Tail Held High just because you need to put so much of your SP into your early race and your late race, all the gold skills that you need to get, but if you can proc it, it is always good. Other wit cards, so you can run Machikane. I don't really recommend it. Most of her benefit is that she gives you a free right-handed, but it's a left-handed track, so you're not going to use that anyway. She also has no race bonus, and her specialty priority is kind of low. Her training effectiveness is only 5%. So I would not recommend running her unless you really need her to help you win Unity races. Even then, Unity races are not that crucial in CM7 because you don't need No Stopping Me, especially on Silence Suzuka. Dober's another option. Dober's pretty good as a Wanderer, so she actually has a huge 15% training effectiveness. Her unique perk plus her face 10%. But she has 0 specialty priority, which means that she is going to be on every facility, but whatever facility she lands on, she'll be giving you more stats in that facility. So you want to hope that she lands on speed when your rainbow cards are on speed. You want to hope that she lands on wit when your bourbon is on wit. So Dober is a good card, but she's kind of like a high roll card. You want to use her if you like to gamble on getting more stats. But basically use whatever you have available. For your second wit card. Like I said, I like to use Tachyon or Sunday, or probably my 2 top options. For your final card, this is where you would put Rico. So I have a SSR Rico. You can use an R Rico just fine. If you find that R Rico is not working out for you, you can also use Cafe. Or Top Gun, or if you have a high limit broken Super Creek, you can use Super Creek, and that way you have access to Swinging Maestro. So, this is kind of your stamina support slot. You want to bring somebody that can give you a little bit of stamina. I like Rico because I find that Suzuka has a lot of mood swings, and so Rico can really help to stabilize that a little bit. But I don't think that Rico, or even like a high LB SSR Rico or whatever, is strictly necessary. which leaves you borrow slot. If you have to borrow Kida-san, borrow Kida-san. If you don't have to borrow Kida-san, you can, of course, borrow Smart Falcon, and this will give you that guaranteed groundwork. If you don't want to borrow Smart Falcon, if you have a really good groundwork legacy, you feel confident in getting groundwork, you can use your borrow slot to get something. It's basically free. Like, you can borrow like a rice to get you power and then also give you that maestro, swinging maestro as a backup in case maybe you don't get enough stamina, or maybe like you're a little bit worried about, stamming out. Rice is pretty helpful with being able to build power, which is an important stat that you want, while also giving you that recovery to help you bridge your stamina. If you want to go kind of turbo, you can borrow Biko. If you borrow Biko and you're using Kida-san, obviously you don't need to run a third speed card, so you can run another wit card. You can run one of your own power cards. If I ran like Fine Motion here, like this would be a really strong deck. But then of course you'd have to inherit groundwork. So that's kind of my thoughts in terms of how a Suzuka deck would work. With this deck, you usually wind up with, obviously max speed. You wind up with like 700 to 800 wit. You wind up with, like 800 to 900 power. You can push the power up a little bit by running those power cards. So, borrowing that Smart Falcon, using, a different power card here. But I think that, well, you wouldn't because you didn't need to run 2 speed, but I think that balancing wit and power is or at least having 2 wit cards is really, really helpful, because it just gets you more and more stats, because when those wit cards stack up on each other, you're going to get more energy. More energy means more training turns. When you're training wit, you're also getting SP, which you need. When you're training wit, you're also getting speed without having to drain energy. So I think that 2 wit is really, really strong. But I'm also a wit gamer, so. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Suzuka's decks. I would love to hear any deck alternatives, so let me know if you can think of any, or if you run any that work really well for you. And we'll go ahead and look at some of the races. Alright, so here's a room match that I have with a random lobby. This room match has 2 dominators and 2 murmurs. You'll see here that it doesn't really affect my Suzuka. This is my Suzuka that has 819 stamina with 1 gold skill. I also run 2 other fronts, just because that's the comp that I'm going to be running for CM7. But I am the only Suzuka in this lobby, and I actually missed taking the lead here, so she gets a later start, or a slower start than usual. She hits swinging maestro here. She doesn't have a lot of mid-race skills, except for her ult, which is pretty strong. And here, as we're coming around the final corner, you're going to see her hit angling and scheming, and understrain. I think she hits understrain a little bit late, but she's also going to get hit by Dominator and get dragged back a little bit. She gets hit by 2 Dominators, but spoiler alert, like, it doesn't matter. She's so far ahead. There's both Dominators. And she uses that lead to win. The next one that I'm going to show you here is actually going to be what it looks like when there's a double Suzuka. So this is what you're going to see if you bring a Suzuka and somebody else brings a Suzuka. I take the lead early here. I think they probably missed an early skill, or they late started. And right now she's not contesting, but once she comes up a little bit, you see the spot struggle there. That's where they're going to start really draining each other's stamina. If you build a Suzuka that doesn't have enough early skills to activate that spot struggle, the other Suzuka is still going to win. You have to build her well enough to where she really struggles for that position with the other Suzuka, which is why I believe that you might as well just build an ace. So you can see here, as soon as they hit late race, they're going to start slowing down a lot. They're not going to be able to maintain that pace because they're dead, because they struggled with each other. So now that opens it up for everybody else to come up and win. This is why you want to build good backup Umas with a Suzuka, because every lobby that you're going to be in with another Suzuka, your Suzuka is just going to die. So you need good umas to back up your Suzuka on your CM7. This last race that I'm going to show you is one that I put in my practice range. This is my Suzuka with 848 stamina, I believe, and rosy outlook versus 3 pretty fearsome debuffers that I built for previous CMs. There's a couple other umas here that I have. The Summer Marzinski doesn't have taking the lead, and so you can see how much she's lagging behind because she doesn't have that first acceleration skill. So you're going to see here my Suzuka is going to get hit by a lot of debuffs all at once. So she is hitting, so All Seeing Eyes does miss her because my Nice Natures are too far back and she's way too far forward. So she'll always skip All Seeing Eyes. She does get hit by Dominator. She does get hit by, I believe, Flustered, and Closers is the one that hits towards the end. But you'll see on my builds, I have like Flustered and Subdued and front runners on most of my horses, or my 3 debuffers. So you'll see my builds here. This is my Suzuka, 848 Stam, rosy outlook, 438 guts. That's it. And she survived these debuffers. Here's my Nice Nature, subdued fronts, double gold. My other Nice Nature, subdued fronts, double gold. My Tachyon, Dominator, double front debuffs, and Murmur. And so that's really goes to show that Suzuka doesn't need that much stamina to win. Now the one final thing about making an ace Silent Suzuka is getting the Runaway skill in the first place. The Runaway skill happens in a secret event when she wins the Autumn Tennis Show with a 7-win streak. This means that basically she has to win every single race in her career, including the race that you take early on to get her to 5,000 fans. This can be, it's not as hard as it sounds because she's a front runner and because her her unique skill has been buffed. But you still want to make sure that you're winning those races. The only caveat to this is that she also is very SP hungry with her skills that she wants to get, ideally. So you are incentivized to run additional races, but you can't lose them or else she might not get her skill. There's a couple strategies around this. You can run races after she unlocks the skill, but you really want that autumn for stats because that's when your facilities will be all at the highest level. You can run early races like the Satsuki Show in her first year, or you can run the Hopeful Stakes and the HF Junior Fillies race for her fan counts in the first place, and that's really going to help. But you really just want to kind of play it by ear, see if you have a bad training round, if you can run a G1, if you feel confident that you can win that G1. Because as soon as she loses a race, she's pretty much glue. So just be careful, but that's kind of the requirements for her Runaway skill. Alright, thank you so much for watching. This is my first kind of larger guide that I've made, and I had a lot of fun doing it. If you have any feedback or comments on it, I would love to hear it. I'd love to answer any questions in the comments, and thank you so much again for watching. Bye-bye.